Hey everyone, my name is Matt. I'm the youth and family pastor at Cornerstone Church in Marshfield. I'm here today with your Cornerstone Connection, a daily devotional. If you're new with us here today, first and foremost, let me just welcome you. We're so glad to have you. I'm glad you're joining us today. Please know that here at Cornerstone, we're making our way through the New Testament, reading through the New Testament this year together. So if you'd like to join us in reading the Bible as a community, click the link that's right next to this video and jump in with us today. We are in day 251 of that Bible reading plan. So please don't go and try to read the other 250 days. Just jump in today. We're in the letter of 1 Corinthians, and we're actually in the very last chapter of that letter as Paul makes his final remarks. We are in chapter 16. I'm only going to read a couple of verses of that chapter. But before I do that, I just want you to consider, if you've been with us for the past couple of weeks, 3 weeks or so that we've been in 1 Corinthians, you'll recall that Paul has written this letter to a church that, though there might be some good going on, there's a lot of bad going on. He's had to write a lot of words of correction to the Corinthian church. He's had to correct them on how they worship and make sure that they worship and take the Lord's Supper in an orderly way. He's had to write to them about the gifts of the Spirit and what their purpose is, and that they are to be used in a way that is to bring the church together and not to divide the church. He's had to talk to them about immorality and what it looks like to behave in an appropriate way, and then what needs to happen for those that are unwilling to do that. He's talked about marriage and whether to marry and not to marry, and when's a wise time to do that. So he's had to write kind of a hard letter to this church that you could say has a lot of good going for it, but has made a lot of poor decisions. And then he's going to get to, in chapter 16, I'm just going to read to you again a couple of verses that are just a beautiful way of summing up and saying goodbye and challenging this church and really all of us in how we are to live as believers. Okay, so he gets to chapter 16. He talks a little bit about taking a financial collection that will go towards not just his ministry, but the ministry of the apostles. And then he makes some personal requests. And then we get to verse 13 and 14. So if you want to jump in with me there, 1 Corinthians chapter 16, 13 and 14, he gives these final remarks. And just hear what he has to say. He says this: "Be on your guard, stand firm in the faith, be men of courage, be strong, do everything in love." Be on your guard, stand firm in your faith, be men of courage, be strong, do everything in love. It's kind of fun to read this. This is actually a couple of verses that over the summer, Carly and I, my wife and I, were teaching our boys to memorize and hide in their hearts and store in their hearts. And the ESV that we were memorizing says, "Be watchful, stand firm in your faith, act like men, be strong, let everything that you do be done in love." And I love these couple of verses. What a strong and beautiful charge. And when I look at those, I just can't help but look at verse 14 that says, "Do everything in love," or "let everything that you do be done in love." And if you were to back up to chapter 13 and you would read Paul's writing about what love is and what love is not. And then he says at the end, he says, "Faith, hope, and love remain, but the greatest of these is love." And again, we've probably talked about this a million times, but the way our culture and our world would define love, or what comes to mind for much of our world when they think of love, isn't what Paul is talking about here. When Paul charges the Corinthian church, but he also charges us to let everything that we do be done in love. I mean, if there's one thing that we could remind ourselves of as we go through each and every day, whether we're in the church or out of the church, at work, at home, wherever we are, to let everything that we do be done in love, that is such a great charge, isn't it? Because he's talking about the love of Christ. He's talking about love that cares more about the other person than ourselves. He's talking about love that is unconditional, that does not count somebody's sins against them, that believes the best about people, that wants the best for other people, that sees others as better than ourselves, that is humble love, a love that makes sacrifices, a love that cares for others, a love that lays down one's own life on behalf of other people. Friends, wherever you find yourself today, whatever you're going off to, whether it's a really great situation or a hard situation, let me give you this charge. Be on your guard, stand firm in your faith, be men, be women, be people, be teens, be kids of courage, be strong, and let everything that you do be done in love. And what is that love? Go back to 1 Corinthians chapter 13. See exactly what Paul is talking about. Have a great day, friends. We'll see you next time on the Cornerstone Connection.